Elon Musk just dropped a bombshell. He says the upcoming shareholder vote won't just decide Tesla's future, it could shape the future of the world. Tesla's standing at a critical inflection point right on the edge of another massive wave of growth laid out in Master Plan 4. Elon Musk is a once-in-a-generation CEO, and we need to act. As of today, Tesla shareholders can now vote, and this one really matters. We've got the bulls here with us today. We got Tesla Boomer Mama, the Queen, Alexandra Mertz, the Powerball. We got Jeff Lutz, Mr. Incredible, the Irrational Bull, and Larry Goldberg, the Golden Bull. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Herbert.
Hey, Herbert.
First question today is one of the things, the way that the board positioned this CEO Performance Award is that Elon is a once-in-a-generation CEO, and they're saying that there's a chance for him, not only to be the future for Tesla, make it the largest company in the world, the most valuable company in the world. But then Elon himself says it's the future of the world as well. What do you think, Alexandra? The company and the product. I don't look at the quarterly stock movement.
A very realistic bull, questioning certain decisions.
The rational bull. I enjoy listening to bears.
Looking for the red flags. You're supposed to react.
Yeah, we only earned 50 cents a share the last quarter. I mean, come on, guys.
I mean, it's cute of him to say that because the main point we're voting on is his compensation. So what he's saying is, it's me, the future of the world, right? So while I love that, and I completely agree to it, it's gonna be a very consequential vote. It is for sure, because it will keep Elon for at least 7.5, most probably 10 years with us. And it will bring Tesla to the size and to the impact it deserves. And that is possible only with Elon. I love the roadshow Robin Denholm did when she went on Bloomberg and a couple of others, because we're getting now daily these amendments to the proxy where they have to declare to the SEC any board member or Elon commenting on anything that could influence the proxy or the vote. So it's good to see how they are all active for the one and only goal, keeping Elon there and making everybody understand how crucial he is to the future of Tesla and, in Elon's view, also of the world.
This is what he actually said. This shareholder vote decides the future of Tesla and may affect the future of the world. Let us know if you have any difficulty voting. Tesla announced that it's a critical inflection point. We need your vote ahead of our 2025 annual meeting on November 6th. Tesla shareholders, the owners of our company, will soon receive their control numbers and voting instructions from their brokers. This will enable you to vote. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you submit. Every account that you have will send you the broker should send you a control number, and then you need to vote. You can start doing that now from now till November 6th.
Yeah, not so quick. You say now. It's actually funny because some of the overseas banks that last year couldn't enable voting are now ready. I mean, they were standing there, and as soon as the definitive proxy came out, so that was Wednesday afternoon Pacific time, they, the next morning in the UK, but also in some other locations, had the voting material up on their websites, the email sent to their account holders, and made voting possible. Of the US banks, people are able to vote because they actively call their brokers or their banks and get the control numbers, and then go on a website called proxyvotes.com and either put the control numbers in or put if they have an account there, put their account credentials in and can then vote with the control numbers. But the US banks still need a day or two. So this is the Schwabs, the Fidelities, whatever else. If you don't reach out to them directly and call them and get the control number, wait for those emails or wait for those links on their websites. Often you have to actually go on the desktop version of their websites to be able to find the shareholder vote section.
Okay, and we'll go through the proposals shortly. But Jeff, thoughts on the way that the board is positioning this, the way Elon's positioning this, and whether or not Tesla can actually become the most valuable company in the world?
Well, I think if you look back on it historically and you look back at the performance of the company, and you look at it from the the prior shareholder award, I mean, you can argue it. You can argue what's happened with the EV industry and basically setting that up for massive global expansion. You can see what's happening in energy, and you can see what's happening now with physical real world AI in vehicles. So there's history now. There's history of the growth and the expansion and what's been delivered for Tesla. So it's not as much of a reach to look forward and say, okay, now we're on to the next whatever 8x, 10x, or beyond. This has been done before, and now a new vision, a new set of products, product lines, and just larger thinking is going to enable the next stage of growth. So tremendous credibility has been built. I think all of the board members, Elon, everybody can go out in front of the media and go out on this tour with a more than a straight face and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going after, and this is why we're doing it. So I think it's wholly appropriate.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, it's funny. I speak to Larry once a week, right? We do these shows every week. I haven't spoken to you since last week, of course, when Elon bought $1 billion of his stock, and the milestones and so forth. What is your thinking about the likelihood of Elon actually accomplishing these milestones?
I think he's got a real shot at it. I mean, I don't know about every particular milestone because they're very particular. They're awesome in terms of the challenge, but I mean, I think he's got every shot at getting a very significant portion of them done, maybe all of them done. He got all of the last ones done. And, I remember the last one was so funny because when they announced it and they rolled it out, everybody said, there is no way on earth. And people made fun of it. And I remember Fortune magazine, they said, we're not going to criticize it because it's too crazy. There's no way he can hit it. That's what they said. And of course, he hit every one of them. And then, the court in Delaware, the chancellor in Delaware, sits there and says, well, of course, once the deal was finally done, he had already got 3 of these, milestones behind him that there was no way he was not going to do it. Yeah, where were you when everybody was laughing at him on the first milestone? Anyway, bottom line is, I think he has a real shot at it. And by the way, I take issue with calling him, the best
once in a
CEO
generation.
In a generation. Mm-hmm. It's not in one generation, guys. It is really not. I mean, I've studied the histories. You have to go back to the 19th century to find people of this stature, of this capability. There's no doubt that he is an historical figure of this century and maybe even the last century. So anyway.
Thank you so much, Larry. So we are about to go to the big vote on November 6th. As Alexandra said, in a few days, you should get it. So we need to show this again. We did it last week. This is what Alexandra is going to vote, and she gives you the proxy page numbers. So if you want to know the proposals, you go to these page numbers to really understand what it is that they're asking you to do. But these are the way that Alexandra is going to vote. Can you want to explain that, Alexandra?
Sure. So this is my pinned post. Anybody who goes on my X profile finds it straight away on the top. And I took a long time to study that proxy. It was especially long for me to make sure I had it right on proposal 6 and obviously on proposal 7, which is our shareholder proposal to invest in XAI. The other votes are all the same as the board. The first part is the re-election of 3 board members, Ira, Kathleen, and Joe, for another term of 3 years. I think we're all agreeing on them. I mean, they have been outstanding, and I think it's important for Elon to have his troop around him, and people that he has trusted for years. In Ira's case, nearly 20 years. So I think it's really important. The second point is the 2024 executive compensation. So this is actually only an advisory role. Tesla informs us how the executives have been paid. To sum it up very quickly, no bonuses. It's all a relatively low fixed salary, and then everything is in options for certain goals, and with a certain holding period. And so you have the details in those longer pages that are, I think, 134 to 160. I can't read it from here, but anyway, the numbers are there if you want to read all those details. And it's really for us after the facts to be informed, but also tell them we still agree with this system of no bonuses, but and relatively small salaries and everything else on results and periods that people stay with them. The third one is interesting because it amends and restates the 2019 equity incentive plan. So this is the plan that allows Tesla to issue options for employees. It was put in place and accepted by shareholders in 2019. They emptied it recently because the 96 million award for Elon to compensate for about a third of what could happen in Delaware when the appeal does not go through was now awarded to him, and he has the voting rights for these as restricted stock. This is all very technical, but whatever it is, it's empty now. And so what they want us to vote on is to also now be able to issue the other 200 and something million stock that is still missing for the 2018 package, if ever it doesn't go through appeal, and another 60 million stock for employees. I think that's a no-brainer that we want to do that. So that was a 4. And then another 4, obviously, was number 4, the 2025 CEO Performance Award. I mean, lots of people have talked about it. I loved your analysis with Larry and the other one with CERN. I think that was really very much in depth. So if anybody wants to understand in detail, watch those shows. They were very good. And obviously, I mean, as a shareholder, I could not imagine voting against it. I mean, you really must have a beef with, I don't know, probably yourself, because why would you not want to incentivize your CEO to go for these absolutely rocketing limits and then bring the stock price up with it? The fifth point is PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, to confirm them as an accounting firm. They have been accounting firm for Tesla since the beginning. I heard some voices saying they like something where every 5 years the accounting firms turn. I think, especially for a company like Tesla, who is so much in advance and who is developing so many different fields, it is important that you have an accounting firm that understands what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you're structuring it, how much of it is at risk, and do this then accordingly. I mean, accounting is a science. It's not only straightforward. So you want to have professionals that know the firm. So I'm all for it. Then the sixth point was one that really I was going into too many rabbit holes, but to make it short, since 2014, there have been 2 shareholders. One is called Mr. Sheridan, and the other one, I don't even remember. It's something, who have brought forward these very generic shareholder proposals, because they do that. One does it because he feels he is an activist shareholder, and the other one does it because he has a firm running on this stuff. And people pretend that his firm is actually financed by Soros. I don't know much about that. I can just throw this out. But anyway, so these 2 gentlemen for the last 11 years have brought forward proposals about should we have simple majority voting rights? Should we abandon this and that and whatever? I mean, it's some of the stuff that's coming up later on is also from them, just because they do that. And they don't do this only to Tesla. They do that to Amazon, to Meta, to whoever. It's their thing, okay? They're activists and who want to bring this forward. So anyway, last year, one of their votes got more than 50%. And Tesla had for years argued that while their stuff is all nice and good, if ever it would get close to the threshold that's necessary, which is 66.6%, they will put it up as a management vote, because the first 6 subjects are all brought and proposed by the management, and the other ones are shareholder proposals. And so since last year we got there, well, they finally condensed these old Mr. Sheridan claims into one point, which is to eliminate any supermajority voting requirements. If you read between the lines, I think they're not for it. They just felt obligated by these last year results to now put it there. And there are not many supermajority voting requirements left anymore in Texas, because Texas is differently structured than Delaware. So I'm against it. I don't want activists running candidates for board members. I don't want any of that. So I'm against it. I detailed actually in my pinned post for all of these arguments my 3 main reasons why I decided to decide whatever I did. So, and this one I'm particularly against it. So I really, because if you pay not attention to point 6, it would be a straight line of 4 and then a straight line of against, right? So make sure you remember that point number 6 is something you want to think about. I'm not saying that's how you should vote, but please think it through. And then number 7 is our shareholder proposal to authorize the board to invest in XAI. Now, the board just put that out there, said below that they want it to be, that they're not putting any advice on it, not for nor against, just none. And they're not commenting on it. It's actually funny because on all the others, they always have a comment, but this one, they're just not getting into the subject at all. And Robin Denholm, whenever she gets asked by the journalist, she always stays very much out of it. So what they want to create is that the shareholders decide for or against. And if it is for, it's a blank check. It's the shareholder saying to the board, look, we want this, now study it. Now do know this is only advisory. We cannot force the board to do it. We can only give our opinion, and then they take that into account, and then they take their decision themselves. So you obviously decide what you want. Jeff and me were having good discussions on this point all the time, because we don't really agree in detail about why we should do it, whatever. We can discuss this publicly. I don't mind at all. But whatever you do, this is what, if we get this through, it doesn't mean it will happen. That's what I'm trying to say. It just means that the board then has our opinion on the table and says, okay, the shareholders want that. Do we now want this? Okay. We also formulated, I did this with Amy, the proposal as large as possible, because my personal opinion is that if we do it, I would love to do it as a swap of stock, a stock swap, a share swap. But it's, we both felt, Amy and me, that we want to keep it as large as possible and let the board decide in the end how they want to do it. Because if we start by doing a proposal saying, well, we want it this way and we want this amount and whatever, it's so much easier to say no, right? But if we leave all the options on the table and they can finally try to find the way they want to do it, we thought that had the highest chance of agreement. Mm-hmm. And now to make it very quickly, all the other points, 8 to 16, are also shareholder proposals, including number 13 from Mr. Shevardin again, and including, I think it's number 11 that has, one of the others is of this other person that regularly does them. So anyway, Tesla explains very well in the proxy why they're against it, and I completely agree with all their arguments, and then added some in my analysis. But those are all some are the typical ones, child labor and all that. And I love it already, because I get all the time yelled at, oh, so you are for child labor. No, I'm not for child labor. I'm against the fact of paying an audit for something that is not taking place. So it's just, it's a little bit more detailed than just the title.
Thank you for doing that, Alexandra. Just sure. Very, very full of information there. I appreciate it. And I know that Tesla retail shareholders do. So please, as a retail shareholder, you need to act. Vote. If you want to use hers as a guideline, great. But as she gave you the PDF numbers, page numbers, you can take a look at that as well. Thank you very much. That's very, very important for that. So I wanted to ask you, Jeff and Larry, one of our first topic is most valuable company. They did lay it out on the board letter that they think that Elon will make Tesla one of the most valuable companies as one of the metrics. So I took a look at the largest company by market cap as of today. Looks like that NVIDIA is at $4.3 trillion as of today. They're number one. You got Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, and Amazon. And if you go down here, Tesla's way at number 10 at $1.34 trillion at a price of $4.16. So do you think that Tesla could become one day the largest company in the world? And then, or two, when? Jeff, put you on the spot right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. You can see the trends of where things are going relating to AI and physical real world devices. And Tesla, again, is covering the gamut of the AI brain, the in the case of Optimus AI brain, the dexterity that's needed for a multi-purpose bot and the ability to manufacture things. And I think this whole ability to manufacture things is a real blind spot for many companies. Even some of the greatest companies who have heralded the best supply chains in the world, if you think of some of the Mag 7s, they are building products today that are inside of a construct, and a construct that was made, if it's a smartphone, for example, that construct was made 15 or actually 18 years ago or more. Well, I mean, I was there. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. So the question is are these iterative? Like, are these companies innovating, and are they doing iterative things in manufacturing, or are they inventing new ways to build products? And it's not just the physical way of building a product. It's also now you're going to have physical factories. You're going to have AI sentient factories that are bolted onto these factories. And then you're going to have physical supply chains. You're going to have AI sentient supply chains. And these things are going to commingle and be indistinguishable at some point. And the amount of decisions that are being made by humans and manual tasks will decline, and the amount and rate of decisions that are made by AI will increase. And what does that mean? That is not only a different way of manufacturing product. It may be fundamentally faster, far less people, and at a quality and defect rate that would meaningfully reduce the cost structure. Sans all the labor, massive changes in labor that occur. So this is a unique recipe. So when you say most valuable company in the world, they can make pretty much anything. And if you look at Elon's companies, whether it's something that's going into deep space, whether it's automobiles, whether it's the computers that are in these things, and now you've got satellite, terrestrial, beyond terrestrial communications, and the automation to make those things. And now you see them stretching and wanting to get a deep partnership with Samsung on the fab side. You've seen where they've gone with batteries. Like, not everything's a home run. Not everything is knock it out of the park. But their manufacturing assets and capability are second to none. So I draw back this whole thesis to, can you be the most valuable company in the world? Well, if you have this focus on supercomputing, you have this focus on AI, and you have this focus on manufacturing, there isn't another company that has those two things fused together under one roof and operating at the level that Tesla and the trajectory that Tesla is operating at.
Do you agree with what he said, Larry?
I mean, everything that Jeff said, plus Tesla has Elon. I mean, that's not nothing. That's a huge something. So, all of these companies are stellar companies. All of them are doing well. I mean, we have, amazing companies, amazing products, amazing results. But none of them have Elon, and none of them have the vision that Elon's bringing to the table. And the vision goes beyond the business. It goes to, preserving the light of humanity. So, that encompasses a huge world. And, I said a little bit earlier, he's not a man of, the moment. He's a man of generations. I can't imagine how far you'd have to go back to find somebody of this impact. So, in general, I think that Tesla has the opportunity. They're in a massive change of, reconfiguring of the business. And we'll see this play out over the next couple of years. We'll also see, the reaching a peak in terms of processors for AI at NVIDIA. We'll see a peak of, the actual software produced by these AI companies. We'll see new companies emerge. OpenAI is going to emerge, and maybe some other companies going to emerge. So there's a lot of reconfiguration of the top companies. But can Tesla reach that $4, $5, $6 trillion mark, $10 trillion mark? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And what'll help him is inflation. So that's going to drive the numbers up anyway.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I'm very positive. I've been in this company for a long time, and I'm going to stay in it for a long time. I mean, at my age, a long time is relative, but nevertheless.
We'll get to Robotaxi rollout. There's a number of developments there, but let's stick to Tesla stock. How are you guys feeling about the stock? It jumped to 416 today. We're filming this on a Thursday afternoon. But I mean, it's driven mostly because Elon bought stock. We're seeing institutional analysts one by one praising Tesla, saying that it gives them confidence. They're now seeing Tesla as beyond a car company. They're seeing everything. Q3 is going to be good. They're going to see Robotaxi rollout. They're now saying it's good. They tested Robotaxi and they think it works. They're all saying the right things now. But is this a temporary? I mean, like, none of us know, right? It can go up and go down for sure. But how are you guys feeling about the stock?
I find it really interesting how in the general press, there's either so much ignorance or they've decided to ignore it. The timing of Elon's purchase was clearly for voting rights. You had to purchase on the Friday to be able to, for those shares to count on the date of record of the Monday, right? And it wasn't, I mean, I don't know what people imagine, but Elon, who is the most frugal, rich person I know, other than maybe my husband, but I can say so. He's not at home now, but he's not walking around saying, "Oh, today I buy for $1 billion Tesla." That doesn't happen, and that never happened before. Never did that. So why $1 million? Well, because it gave him 0.75% more voting rights. And why is that important? Because it's important because he wants this compensation package. He wants, I mean, there are a couple of important votes in there, but the most important is by far this compensation package. It's also the 3 directors. If I would have to classify the 16 points on which we're voting, I think and I think he wants the XR investment as well. So those are my top 3 that I think Elon wants. So between his current shares and those and the 96 million award, he has now about 14.6% of shares. Retail has somewhere between 35 and 40. Not all retail will vote for him. There are some people out there that are still very crazy and very mad, but lots of them will. And we're in a much better position, as I said earlier. The whole Scandinavia and UK bloc, which is huge. There are huge investments in Norway, Sweden, and the UK in Tesla, was able to vote today on the first day that it's open, earlier than us in the US. So I think retail will come out in mass, even bigger than last year, and a big chunk will approve those 3 important points. And retail plus Elon plus Baron funds plus ARK is 50%. There is no doubt in my mind. And so,
well, Fidelity, don't forget Fidelity.
The others will too. I think Vanguard will too, but he doesn't depend on them anymore.
Beg your pardon? Fidelity,
he doesn't
what?
depend on them anymore. He got the 50% without them.
Yeah, but they're very strong supporters. Vanguard and Fidelity have been positive, very strongly positive. So I'm very relaxed about this vote.
Me too. I mean, I don't want to say it too often because I want people to still do their voting, right? And I don't want us to get complacent. But I think we're getting all 3 of those.
Yep.
So we should plan for a party. Don't count the chickens before we hatch.
We should plan for a party.
I think you should plan for a party.
Well, we are. Like we've reserved the penthouse in Austin for the 4 of us, right? Larry, you said you weren't going to join us, right? But,
I want 40 of us. I don't want 4 of us. I want
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's party.
all our friends,
Exactly.
So that's going to
We're
happen.
about
That'll be
10
fun.
million friends in this
and we'll
business.
have a special section for the bears.
They'll come. They'll still
We'll
come, right?
invite Gary Black, and
It's not a bear.
Oh, you count him in the Bears now? I agree. I count him in the Bears. So I'm
do
locked
count.
again.
I mean, he's desperately hoping for the shares to go back to 240, which they could. They could.
Thoughts on the stock, Jeff? I know that I mean, who knows what's going to happen next month, but to some people think that interest rates is the macro, right? Risk on, risk off has the most impact to the stock movement, barring anything else. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's honestly it's this collection of catalysts, both macro and Tesla related, and there's technicals. There's a technical overlay. It broke out of this 360x number, and then there's a fair amount of room once it got over 400. So I think we're now in another maybe range for waiting for the next catalyst. But the uptrend it's been great. I mean we have tactical things happening this quarter. We have things happening in the following quarter relating maybe potentially to product reveals. But the big things is this convergence of FSD and this expansion of Robotaxi. This is what people are looking at in terms of the company and its confidence in growth. So these analysts that are like, oh, I just took a Robotaxi ride and it was great. I mean, this same experience has been available for 8 months or more, maybe even longer. So you have to really question, who are these people and why are they giving me this kind of input? If they're responsible on a national scale to speak to the efficacy of an investment in a company of this it should be doing this stuff a lot earlier, commenting on it a lot earlier, and articulating what it means to investors. I think some of this too is kind of like momentum based, like things are going kind of well. A lot more of the messaging is kind of more positive. It's not, you know what I mean? Like there's been multiple up days on the stock, and all of a sudden it's Elon could do no wrong. And by the way, there's a lot of this in the retail community too. If you look at some of the comments we get on these videos during uptrends and downtrends, you would be embarrassed maybe to see some of the comments. So anyway, I think some of this is sentiment. There's technicals, but there's a real list of catalysts, and a lot of the bad stuff is in the rearview mirror. It doesn't mean that it can't. There's things that can't reemerge. Obviously, there's this. Where are the sales going to come from in U.S. without this credit? And I think Tesla is going to answer that question. That's what we need to hear from them. But they're also going to answer the question on autonomy. They're going to answer the question about where the future growth in the company is coming from, and that'll be the Investor Day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's lower cost vehicles supposed to be coming along. There's there's a lot of prosaic opportunities for improving the company, but the big issues are, we know, Robotaxi and its advancement and Optimus and its advancement. That's the central issue. So I think Robotaxi is one thing, but of course Cybercab is a whole nother thing, and I'm very excited to see the first Cybercabs roll off the production line early next year. So I see next year as a series of milestones that we're going to hit, a series of milestones. And I think they're going to be very important, and they're going to have a real impact on the stock price. And you know what? The market's starting to see that.
Yeah, we'll see. Jeff, you're right. Like you should not comment about Tesla stock if you haven't even tried FSD. You should have, if you really cared about Tesla, you should have at least tested FSD yourself. Let's talk Robotaxi. Here's the things that just happened in the last few days, right? First of all, there was these reports that Tesla employees are beginning to receive FSD version 14. This was on Monday. This seems to be, still rumor, but according to Omar, he says this is not just a rumor. Seems to be, he's seen it and he thinks it's real. But if that's true, that's great. Tesla AI announced that in California, they changed the timing that the ride hailing is available to now include up to 2 a.m. So there's now only a 4-hour downtime. That tells you that maybe they're getting more comfortable with the operations of this. This is starting today. Our updated hours are from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Of course, the 4 hours that middle of the night is very dangerous. And so partly that could be 2, but also just maintenance of the cars. This one, don't know if you can read too much into it, but it's a job opening for a robotaxi engineer. Look at down here, the last 2 sentences. Map airport experience related to rides for entire world. Build backend infrastructure for storing and processing many forms of map data for entire world. This is not just airports in the U.S. or certain cities. This is now they're thinking across the world. And then there's always all these new job openings everywhere. Texas, Houston, Austin, Tampa, Florida, Tampa, Arizona, Florida, Henderson, Nevada, Palo Alto, California, Miami. These are autopilots, supervisors, so, vehicle operators. And that may be how they initially launch it in all these cities is a ride hail service, a safety driver at the front at first, just to get the system rolled out and all that. These are, are we reading too much into it? They're job openings. This is FSD version 14 being rolled out. It's happening, I think, sooner than many of us thought for 14 anyways.
No, this is what companies do. They have internal data sets on the product they're developing and the performance they think they're going to get in the marketplace. And to get out ahead of it and operationally support it, you have to make these hires, and these hires take a period of time. You don't just post the requisition and you're onboarding someone the next day. It could take months depending on the complexity of the role. So my read into this is Tesla is very confident about expanding robotaxi, and they're hiring for it. And because when you put these requisitions up in a company from a process perspective, you are setting aside the budget and the run rate for those things to be filled and running in your budget. So I don't think we're reading too much into it. I think this is a leading indicator of expansion.
Right. And it's kind of the least we would have thought. I mean, so I don't see these as very important, stepping stones. I think it's business as usual. And I think we're going to see more and more and more and more of it. I mean, they're going nationwide as fast as they can, and it's quite clear that Waymo as well. So the game is on. The game is on, and the faster they can take the the driver, what they call it, the safety driver out, the better. And they're trying to do it very quickly. One of the things that I would point out is that Waymo had a safety driver in there for over 2 years. I don't think that we'll have a safety driver by the time we get to mid-year next year. I think they'll be expanding without safety drivers. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen, over a 6-month period. That would be my guess.
Larry, you agree with Elon's statement that by the end of the year we'll be at half the US population?
Elon's timescales are not my timescales. I always, I'm a little bit less optimistic than he is. So I think it'll be mid-year next year that we're at that level.
There's a rumor going around right now. Somebody was saying that they think what Tesla might do is roll it out pretty aggressively, multiple cities, multiple states, maybe ride hail, but get out there sooner rather than later. As opposed to, now I know, Larry, you think that, they wouldn't do that unless you have to have infrastructure in place first. But if they just had a small number of cars like they did with, 10 cars like Austin, they might be able to do that.
I don't see the value in that, but I mean, I am very inured to Elon's timescales. And so I multiply by 2 or 3 and that's it. So that's my position. I could be wrong. I'm very happy to be wrong. Very happy to be wrong.
Yeah, any of these predictions has a guard band. When you're predicting something that doesn't exist today in the form that you're doing it, you're gonna put a guard band around it. It could be hardware, it could be software, it could be this complex hardware, software, infrastructure capability that they're rolling out. So, I mean, go back to what are your goals? What are your, what's your horizon for following or investing in companies? Hopefully, 3 to 6 months doesn't dramatically change things. But I mean, the whole options market has turned that into a circus. So that could be part of the thinking from people. This is why we get this question like 400 times a week.
Yeah.
But in the way the real world works, when you're doing stuff like, if you were doing something iterative that everybody else has done, your predictions should have great precision, or you have an execution problem in your company. When you're doing something that has never been done before, the cost structure and scale that you're going after, or the technology never existed, those predictions will have some variance to them. But I think though, you have to go back to his predictions. I think once he gets down to this level of specificity, you're in the shorter strokes. You're not talking years off. Like Larry said, it could be, a couple of months. And I think that's where we're at on this.
Yeah, I mean, what he does is he sets a date that he wants his team to execute by, because he's done the math in his head. He's done the process in his head. He's taken out the redundant stuff. He's he's done the whole algorithm, and he says, I think we can hit this in 6 weeks, or I think we can hit this in 8 weeks. And that's the number he tosses out there. And then everybody who reports to him is under the gun. We got to do it by that date. Well, we've seen that works to speed things up, but it doesn't work to deliver on the date. Yeah. And so, but Jeff is right. The closer we get to the date, the more accurate he becomes. But I would say that if we get this done, 50% of the population having access to Robotaxi, I mean real access to Robotaxi, not 2 or 3 cars riding around, but access to Robotaxi. I think if we can do it by mid-year next year, I would be over the moon happy.
Yeah. One more thing to just quickly keep in mind on these things. When you're a leader in a company and you're trying to do this thing that's never been done before, then you look back into your team who are highly capable people. These people inside of Tesla are unbelievable. But you can say, okay, I need this thing to be done that's never been done before. And there may be 12 different teams inside of Tesla involved with this, from cleaning, charging, to Tesla AI, to multiple different component teams inside of those teams. And if you turn to them and say, when could you have each of your things done, and give me an integrated schedule for this whole thing to ship, what generally happens is, and this is no fault of anybody, but what generally happens is people put in various guard bands for things based on, like, I'm not sure, I've never done this before. So then everybody puts in their own individual guard bands, and all of a sudden these things are linked. And now this guard band is adding to this guard band. And that's how you get these schedules that could be crazy. So Elon's approach to cut through that is to do, as Larry said, is to kind of do some of this math in his head and put an overly aggressive target on the team and see how close they get with quality and with capability of the product and system. So again, if you just leave this up to normal process, you get expanded results that sometimes isn't the best that a company could do.
I remember an interview with Lars when the Cybertruck came out, and he explained that, which was a completely new product with a lot of innovation in it. And he explained that the initial goal was 6 months, and then he came back and saw that they were not making much progress, and then he said, "Well, now it's 3 months, right?" And I mean, that's just the way it goes, right? That's Elon. I mean. And I think Herbert, our slave driver, is taking lessons.
What do you mean? What am I doing? Telling you to do things faster? No. So let's talk Q3, Q4. What's happening in Q3, Q4? It looks like we're September 18th now, right? And then there will be, it's October 3rd. We should get the...
Q3 is a blowout.
Q3.
I just picked up my new Model Y.
So you added one more?
How is it?
New Model Y. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful car. Beautiful.
Which color did you get?
White on white.
Okay. I got it in red with white seats.
I mean, that's my choice color. That's what I bought my first Model 3, but she wanted white on white, and she got what she wanted. It's a beautiful car. It's a beautiful car. But the place was packed. It's like the old days. I mean, there were people. Firstly, they've added a whole new delivery center. They got 2 delivery centers now in Raleigh. And secondly, they couldn't take us in the first one. We were in the spillover, and then the spillover's packed. So it's going to be a monster quarter.
When you say that, what number are you going to shoot for?
I think they have a shot at 500,000. They have a shot at it.
Larry, wow.
Yeah, I think they do.
You always surprise me. Conservative here, aggressive there.
I told you that, when we're on the 101 driving northbound, we see the trucks coming from Fremont delivering Santa Barbara and further south in California. And for a long, long time, the trucks were multi-cars, multi-colors. Now the trucks are a truck of white Model Ys, a truck of red Model Ys, a truck. And I mean, there are like 3-4 trucks following each other every time I go on the 101. I mean, fair enough, I'm sitting here and being on X and doing my day job a lot. But whenever I'm on the 101, there are at least 3 or 4. And then the Tesla Santa Barbara store is on our way to Whole Foods and the other supermarkets. So one of us passes every day or every second day. There's always a truck unloading cars. It's permanent now, permanent. I've never seen anything like it, even in 2021 and 2022, because that was the time when we were still, we were fresh in the stock and we were going there to check on the deliveries and all that. It's more than then.
Yeah, so it's going to be about 470. Troy's number is kind of the stalking horse for the analysts, but I think it's going to surprise to the upside. Whether it'll be 480 or 490 or 500, I don't know. 500 is kind of a stretch, but it could happen. But that doesn't mean next quarter is going to be great. But we'll see. We'll see what that happens.
And then so let's talk about Q4. What are you guys expecting there? Some people think, it's this is a blip because of the $7,500 IRA credit going away. Q4 are expected to be a much lower number. Others are thinking, no, Q4, you're going to have the more affordable vehicle launched. You got the Model YL in China finally getting up more in scale. You're going to have FSD, maybe 14 is released, and people are going to get excited about that. And that could be a demand driver. It could also be increasing the FSD purchases, and that could show you a surprise. Energy could show up, and I think most people are suspecting energy is going to show up in Q3, Q4, specifically Q4, because it's lumpy, and what they report in Q21, Q2, it shows up as revenue here. What do you guys think?
Well, I think people need to remember a couple things when a new product is ramping. It's not ubiquitously available everywhere. I think people are looking at the China shipments and are looking at how many Model YLs, and they're like, oh, I thought there was this many orders. Why aren't they all fulfilled? That's not the way order fulfillment works. That's not how ramps work. That's not how multiple distribution points are supplied. That's not how it works. They start getting a couple of vehicles in certain regions, and then it expands and fans out. So, if there is a large order sum for something, you're not going to see that all fulfilled in the first week. That doesn't happen with these types of products. So I think it is going to be a mixture of things that you brought up, Herbert, and you don't have these kind of larger quarters like this, and then it just drops off of a cliff because of one thing or another. If I'm Tesla, I'm looking to take that $7,500 and become creative with it. So there's several pluses and minuses on either side of that equation. So let's say the $7,500 comes off and Tesla introduces a vehicle that's $3,000 or $4,000 cheaper. Okay, that's one part of the equation. What now that there's a quarter point and maybe another 2 quarter point reductions, that's less a buy down of rates that Tesla has. That's real money for Tesla, by the way. The way they accrue it, that's real margin loss for them. So that's less work for them to do on that side as that occurs. So there are detractors and negative catalysts in this, but there are more positive catalysts, large and small, I think, coming behind it. So none of us can predict the future, nor are we sitting here doing that. But it appears that Tesla entered into an auto slowdown and exited it prior to anybody else. By the way, the rest of the auto industry is kind of in this mode of like, hey, everything's still okay through August. Auto sales were fine. The SAR is somewhere between 15.8 and 16 million in the US. So it's a mixed bag. It's not clear to me that we're in a macro slowdown or not in buying automobiles. But if we did enter that and exited it, Tesla would have done that faster than anyone else. And that's the math of how they manage inventory and how they build products.
Do you guys, in November's 6th is the annual shareholder meeting. Could that be a catalyst for fourth quarter?
Traditionally, it's been a depressant. Every major event that Tesla's ever had has not resulted in the stock price going up, but the stock price going down. As far as I can recall, very seldom. But it's interesting that the most recent shareholder calls, quarter-end earnings calls, have been quite productive in terms of the stock price. So maybe the worm has turned. So it's quite possible. It depends on which Elon turns up. We're going to see Elon dancing with the robot. I don't know how that affects the share price.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Pay grade.
That's
But I don't hold out a lot of optimism on the share price. I think we're in a range. We're in an interesting range. It's over 400, which I didn't expect by the end of the year. I know that by the middle of next year, I expect to see, prints that are very high in the 400s, maybe in the early 500s. That's what I expect by mid-year next year. So maybe we're gearing up towards that a little bit earlier than we would have if we hadn't had some of this good news. It's possible, but I don't study the short-term movements that closely.
He's got 10 years to get us to 2,600, isn't he? So sooner or later we'll get there.
I think I've got 5 years to get to 2,600.
Well, you're asking one of my quick fire questions, so let me stop.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, get ahead of it. Yeah.
Larry, how could I?
Don't ever get in. Okay.
Don't do that again. Don't
Jeff,
do that
I want to
ever
go
again.
back to Jeff said something very smart. So let's explore that further. He said that very well articulated that in the fourth quarter there's a lot of levers that Tesla can do. They can lower. They have if the interest rates go down, maybe they can lower. Have a little bit more cash to put that. They can lower the price just that alone to lessen the shock of the loss of the 7,500. Jeff, do you think that they're going to move closer to a subscription pricing model? We're starting to see hints of that with the Cybertruck, bundling, forcing people to buy things like FSD, forcing it, but then they're keeping the monthlies. Is that we're going to see more of that? And maybe another lever that they can pull?
You will see. I think the progression will be a progression of bundles and then eventually subscription when the performance of the AI in the vehicle, whether it's a robotaxi or a personally owned vehicle, is of a level that is unsupervised and superhuman, basically. When that happens, all the economics change. Everything changes because the source of income and the sources of revenue change and shift in the product itself. It comes less from the hardware and more from the software. And then when that happens, you can get really crazy with how you price product. And some of it is upfront. There's upfront capital considerations, but these aren't very long payoffs when you look at the types of services that they're rolling out and doing. So my short answer is progressively more bundles and continuing to mature those areas, charging, you name it, insurance, everything, continue to progress those areas, but then progressing to a subscription model when the AI and the performance of the AI supports it.
One of the things that Elon said was that he expects that we're going to get to unsupervised FSD by the end of this year. Unsupervised FSD, maybe pockets. He'll say, okay, you can drive sleeping in the car. Tesla will pay for the insurance, something like that. Unsupervised FSD by the end of this year. James Dama agreed with that. He thinks that there's a real possibility with the existing software that we have now that we'll get there, especially with FSD 14.
Right.
So
Did Elon say Tesla will take over the insurance?
he didn't say that part.
Yeah.
But in order for unsupervised FSD to happen, my assumption is that Tesla would have to take the insurance, just like they do with Robotaxi. He didn't say that part. But Larry, are you just going to say, nope, it's not going to happen in this year? I'm going to multiply by 2 or 3.
I didn't say that. You said
No, you said earlier that every time you hear Elon say these things.
Eat Larry. It's unbearable. Give him here.
No, come on.
Sounds a little
what's
like
your-
Tesla Q.
I mean, we have to experience AI. Version 14.
Mm-hmm.
Now, until version 12, those new versions were somewhat disappointing, if not more, very disappointing. Only with version 12 that did our eyes open up, and then 13 in particular, was amazing. If 14 continues in this path, I think we will have true full self-driving, unsupervised early in the year. So I don't know if that answers your
Early
question.
next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Mhm.
I think the progress has been amazing. And, it's interesting that FSD 13, they've relaxed the supervision in terms of the amount of time that you get, to take your attention off the road, and the number of the way that they forgive the strikes. All of that's been going on, I think, incrementally over the last 2 or 3 months that I've noticed. I mean, I just come back from a trip from North Carolina to Florida, about a 12-hour trip. It was significantly easier than my trip to Tennessee just 2 months ago. So I think we're getting very close, very, very close. The number of problems in the 3 and the Y, I don't know about the S, but have diminished to, I can catalog them now very easily in 3 or 4 paragraphs, whereas before it was a list, yay long. So I'm a little bit more optimistic on that than I am of 50% of the country being blanketed
Okay.
by.
Well said.
Yeah, I think I know there are use cases that are not solved for, that need to be solved for, to go to unsupervised, how the vehicle operates in parking lots, drive-throughs. There's work that they have to do, railroad crossings. There's work that has to be done, and it has to be 100% bulletproof. So I'm with you. I think there's a pretty high bar to get to unsupervised, but we're getting much closer, and we need to see what a cleaned up version of 14 looks like in the capability. I will just tell you this. I'm on the more recent versions of 13, and I've used it driving in downtown Chicago yesterday. I can't believe it's making moves that I wouldn't have had the vision or capability to make on my own, in terms of lane changes, selection, even creeping up to a light and then pulling ahead of the car to my left so I can get ahead of parked cars that it sees in front of me, which is a common thing in city driving. And then how it transitions to highway driving, and then transitions to suburban driving. It's on another. There's been a progression. We have not, just because it says FSD version 13.29, it does not mean that FSD has not been improving this entire year. They've clearly been improving the performance of the vehicle. So I'm excited to see what happens with a refined version of 14.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I was Wednesday in LA. I hate going to LA. It was a doctor's appointment. I hate that too. So I was really not in the mood. Didn't drive. Door to door FSD. No issues.
Mm-hmm.
Even found the best parking spot. I mean, it was just perfect.
How long's that drive from where you live to LA?
2 hours.
And back?
2 hours,
2
2 and a
hours, yeah.
half. When I went 5 weeks ago, because I have to go regularly, I went into traffic jams, and then it was 3 hours. But usually 2 hours, 2 hours 15.
Yeah, it's really getting good. I think the one area of concern is the Cybertruck. I mean, they have to dial that Cybertruck in. It's disappointing that the Cybertruck has not really shown the level of improvement during this release. Although they have, and to your point, Jeff, that is definitely improved within the release without new releases. And I don't know if it's the updates. We've had quite a few updates from week to week.
Minor fixes.
Minor fixes, yeah. And it seems to me
55-minute long updates, so there's not minor fixes.
I think that's been updating the map more particularly than the driver, because I think some of this turns on the map.
Okay, let's go to quick fire questions. What we've covered today so far is most valuable company, the shareholder voting, Tesla stock, Robotaxi rollout, quick fire questions. So when will Elon hit all 12 tranches? Like the first time, 2018, it was a 10-year time frame. He got it done in 3.5 years. This time, it's given him a 10-year time frame to hit 12. What do you guys think he'll hit the actual all 12?
2030.
It's all guesses. It's all guesses, but yeah, 2030. Yeah, that's I think fair. So what is it now? 2025. Yeah, 5 years.
All I hope is it's within my lifetime.
That's
All right.
cute.
It's cute.
But it's not so cute when you're about to turn 80. That
I know. I have one
is
at
not-
home. I know what you're talking about.
You are.
Actually, I think
I-
actually my husband's turning 80 before you, right? He's in February.
Yeah, he's a month before me.
Yeah.
Larry, you're the most futuristic 80-year-old I know. Jesus, you are amazing. Amazing. You know AI more than anybody I know so far, so you're pretty good. So yeah, 12, what's your age? So before you, whatever, okay, so you're not going to give a date before 10 years?
I would hope that he achieves the same goals. I think that this company gets the confidence of investors that they're going to achieve their goals, which is what counts. Actually, achieving the goals doesn't count, but the confidence that investors see those goals are going to be met, within the next 3 years, 3.5 years, because we will see Optimus succeed or fail. We will see Robotaxi succeed or fail. We will see Cybercab succeed or fail. We will see the energy business evolve and succeed or fail. So I don't think we're going to have to wait 5 years. I think it's like a 3.5 year cycle to see us hit this strategic runway. Once we hit that strategic runway, all the rest is simply execution. And that's what happened last time. The stock price is going to go through the roof because people will see, oh, this is going to be a $5 trillion company. Oh, this is going to be a $6 trillion. Oh, this is, and then the stock goes through the roof.
And don't forget, Elon thinks it can actually be 3 or 4 times more than the highest goal.
I agree.
So,
I agree, yeah. Stock price does not need anything but clear evidence that he is achieving his strategic goal.
Okay, well, the question was when we'll hit all 12 tranches. 6 of the tranches is based on EBITDA, 400 billion, and higher. That needs to be that the only way to hit that is the human or robot. And I think that the human or robot will take 2030 and beyond. So I would not, 2030 would be a good hit number. Luckily, I think this time it's a lot harder than last time.
It's the wrong question. We don't care about whether they'll hit when he hits the 12 tranches. We care about the stock price foretelling those 12 tranches are going to be hit, because that's the objective of the exercise.
For the market cap.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal is market cap. Yep. And, as long as the market sees, oh my God, he's going to hit these tranches, we know the stock price is going to go, to the 1,000 plus 2,000, whatever number.
And Jeff, do you have an answer?
I agree with Larry. I think he should be pre-clearing the rapid fire questions.
I know. You guys keep hitting me on this. I just don't get I don't write the questions well enough for you guys always.
No, it's a good question. I agree. I think I would say maybe just a bit beyond 2030. We'll see. Maybe 2031. It's like Price is Right. And I'm just going to guess a little bit higher than everyone else.
One day after. All right, next question. Next big building. Do you think that you'll see a Megapack factory announced first, a Gigafactory announced first, or an AI data center? Which of these three, or some other one, will be announced before the others?
This is definitely the wrong question.
Okay,
I've said this over and over. I've said
Tell
this
us why.
over
Tell us
and
why.
over.
Tell us
Thank
why.
you, Jeff. Thank you.
Tell us why. Tell us
Because
why.
physical buildings don't necessarily equate to market cap. Tesla is like what they're doing with Cybercab. They're re-envisioning how to make a vehicle inside of the same, factory that was built, 4 years ago. So anyway, I get it.
By the way, this question is not related to the tranches or the market cap or
Yeah,
anything like that. This is
right.
just a separate question on its own. People are saying, I just had a conversation with Brian, and he's still very disappointed the Giga Mexico wasn't built. And I agree with you. I don't think they need to do that. But at some point,
that's the wrong conclusion.
well, let me ask you this question. In order to hit 1 million robotaxis, can that all be done in existing
Absolutely.
capacity?
They can build a robotaxi in about a quarter of the space. I think that's the right number. That's the right metric. Jeff,
And
was
don't
that-
even need Fremont.
we need to see their actual.
Okay, so what about
process time.
megafactories and AI data centers then? So you guys have answered no need for gigafactories. Megafactories, I think that they need to announce that very soon. Another one.
mega factory?
I mean, it could be that there is one in England tomorrow. You have no idea about
that's what I'm saying.
local stuff. But why speculate over that?
Are you
What's
talking
the
about
need of
mega
this question?
factories?
Yeah, Megapack factory. Yes.
They just converted a warehouse. I mean,
Yeah, they have 80 gigawatt hours in globally, and they'll be 80 or 90 in the US when Houston is up. And I think the next highest person is probably 10% of that or less, maybe even less, maybe 5% of that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to like, where's Tesla going to expand next? But I just don't view buying buildings. What I'd like for them to see them do is I'd like Lathrop to get to 60 gigawatt hours, and what's needed to do that. What do I have to do in product? What do I have to miniaturize or simplify in product? What do I have to do in manufacturing to increase the capacity of these existing facilities? That is where value is created. Every time you stand up a structure, you are standing up financial and capital risk. So I'm interested to see this 4680 line. Is this going to shrink or not? And will this become portable and be able to go into multiple factories outside of Texas? So those are some of the things. But it's interesting. I know a lot of people are like, when's the next factory going up? But
Last question. You guys gonna jump all over me over this one? I'm so afraid to ask it. When will Cybercab be part of Robotaxi? So very clearly, I'm not asking when is Cybercab going to be produced out of the factory coming out.
June the 19th.
oh,
What?
June the
We all agree
19th.
on June 19th, 2026. We all
June
agree.
the 19th. Yeah, that's
What?
it.
That's it.
Why?
Jeff, you agree?
Yeah,
So-
June the 19th, 2026.
what's the question?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. The answer is June the 19th.
Question
Herbert,
was,
are we
when
done?
is Cybercab going to be part of
Yeah, we
Robotaxi?
answered. We all agree.
I don't know. Where's June 19th coming from?
You mean in
Today's
production?
Cybercab is the Robotaxi.
No, I did
I've
not
done it.
mean production. I said, when will the first Cybercab be part of Robotaxi? Let's
I've
be
just
clear.
told you, June the 19th. I've done the analysis in my mind. I did the whole.
Are you making fun of me? Are you joking me? What are you talking about?
No, never ever.
June the 19th, I believe, is the
It's pretty
date.
reasonable.
Write that down. Write that down.
It's not unreasonable. It's not illogical.
Okay,
Right,
Herbert,
that's-
is that
I
your
think that's way too far away. I think that the first Cybercab will be part of Robotaxi, just one and just to be tested and all that. But you can hail one probably again when FSD becomes unsupervised. So I'm saying maybe January, February, March. That'll be first.
You're out of line.
They'll want to come out and show it, not before.
You're out of line. It's got to be
Okay.
tested. It's got to be thoroughly tested.
Mm.
This is a big change. June the 19th is a very optimistic date. This is a big change. They're not making the car the way cars have been made for the last 100 years, Herbert. You cannot overestimate the complexity of what they're trying to achieve, and they're making it out of structural components that have never been used in car manufacturing before. Yeah, they've made plastic cars before, but this is a whole different ball game. This is a whole different ball game. This is a car design that's never been made before. So don't underestimate the complexity of this. June the 19th is the date.
I put it in the calendar, Larry. It's Juneteenth, or whatever you call that now.
Yeah, it's Juneteenth, of course. Yeah.
Good answer.
Herbert's going to change the goalpost. Just want one car picking up an engineer. One car.
In Austin, driving him to the airport.
It's been done already.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's
you got
interesting.
another good question, or are you done, Herbert?
Just
That's it.
beyond the manufacturing.
Oh.
But just thinking about it, beyond the
is over.
manufacturing, the Cybercab, like this thing's going to be out in the wild with no steering wheel and no pedals.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that
it
they're going to
is.
have to solve for. Yeah.
All right. Great conversation. Fantastic. I appreciate you, Alexandra. That information about
Herbert is
shareholder
so done with
voting
us.
is the most important thing that we need to focus on. And you give us so much info there. And Jeff and Larry, thank you guys very much. Very intelligent
Thank you,
conversation
Herbert.
today. Yeah, I'll do better in quick fire questions. Maybe what we need to do is have the audience help me out. Be very specific, because this is a tough panel here.
Oh, now it's us. Okay.
It's our fault.
It's done.
Okay, I admit. Those are, I try to get something out. I got to be more clear. Thank you guys very much. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
You're doing great.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Herbert.
Bye.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.